If we do it, yeah.
Yes, we will. Welcome to Sports and Songs
Hello.
Season 5, episode 33. This is the sports edition. Andy, how are you?
Good. Just water. Just relax. It's only water.
Yes, it's you've got your Syracuse Mets t-shirt on.
Got my Mets cup.
How about the fist?
Not. It's back in the corner on the shelf.
Okay. So tonight's sports edition, we got lots of baseball to talk about, college, high school, lots of things. But we've been battling with this whole weather, games
Yeah.
being postponed, whether it's town ball or not. And so let's start off with
The weather update from the weather
perfect.
deck.
Lucky guess. Weather update. Okay.
This is off the Minnesota State High School League's Facebook and social media pages and off their website and everywhere else they post things. Today was supposed to be the finals for the Minnesota State baseball tournament. Field conditions and the weather forecast for Target Field in downtown Minneapolis will not permit the Minnesota State High School League baseball state tournament championship games to take place as scheduled today, Monday, June 17th. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the Twins are playing games there. So they're shooting for Friday right now.
Okay.
If you have tickets, you go to mshsl.org/baseball for the brackets. I'm sure tickets for today will be good then, just like any other rain delay, post delay event, I just feel sorry for the teams that travel down. Now they got to go back for a week and come back again,
Yeah, so there's 4 classes, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A. There's 2 teams left. They've already done the consolation bracket. They've already done the third place game. This is one of those strange state tournaments where they have a couple day break before they actually play the championship game. And I think that's dependent on Target Field when the Twins are in town or not. So the Twins are in town and had a day off on Monday, so they scheduled all these games for Monday. Now they're still in town to play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they go on a long road trip. So the option is to push it now to Friday and play all the games. Now we know when they built the stadium, Andy, that field can hold and drain, I think, 1/4 of an inch of rain an hour. It can absorb and not have puddles.
Yep.
It drains really good. It's all recycled water, and it's used back and pushed back into the system. So they can play on that because it's not wet. But the problem is the infield's wet, and it's not just wet. It's continually raining today. It was raining all day long. And the fans.
For the fans and for the safety of everybody else. And this has to do with the Twins being in it. The Twins could be having the Chicago White Sox record. They're not going to do it. And who cares if it's ruined for the major league team? It's the own high school players' safety. They don't want to have anything going wrong.
Yes, and so this is the championship game. So they don't want to be playing it in a half doing it halfway in pouring rain in a sloppy conditions. And so whether this was at CHS Field, I think they played it there in the past, Target Field in the past. The U.S. Bank Stadium can be fitted for baseball. There, it's retractable seats to make it. They could do it there, but the whole point of doing this was to when the field was set, Target Field, is to play outdoor games here, including and specifically the high school championship games. Everyone wants those games outdoors. So when a day like this happens, it's a complete washout, and there's not really alternatives. And so it is what it is. It's not.
It's not like something bad happened here and they can move it to CHS or something bad happened in Target Field. The weather was all over.
It's the luck of the draw, and you just get a game like this. And there's some very, very good teams, of course. Just to make the state, you have to get through that entire section to win your section. So there's some tough teams.
And baseball, like any other sport, they say momentum's your next day's starter. Now you're waiting another week. So, you've been rested, but,
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have the answers and the results then on next Monday's show.
Only one school made the Division I College World Series in both baseball and softball this year, and that was the Florida Gators. We always mention every year around March, these colleges made it for both basketball and football. Yay for them. Here's both the baseball and softball making it. Only one team made it to the – no. The World Series meaning the finals. Baseball's World Series, there's 8 teams involved. It's not 2 teams. So relax when you hear that term. But the final round of the playoffs, Florida is the only Division I school to have baseball and softball in it this year. So congratulations to that.
Yes, the Gators. Congrats.
300 teams in Division I baseball, 31 conferences. Only the ACC and SEC will have teams in the College World Series.
Wow. Okay.
So
all the
that
teams
said,
that are left are represented by just 2 conferences. Wow.
yep. And in this 800-mile radius, there's 1 major league club and 7 of the 8 College World Series teams. And here's the brackets from this morning, so you can see what 8 teams were in. 7 of them are in this 800-mile circle right here.
Oh, amazing.
And the first 3 games, college baseball, very exciting. I mean, yeah, I'm still a college basketball guy, still a college hockey guy, but the baseballs are up there too. First 3 games were all walk-offs. How is that not exciting to watch? I mean,
it's the best.
It's just right there. Speaking of football or playoffs, FCS playoffs, here's their schedule. Round 1 on the campus sites up at NDSU. Round 2, the campus sites at NDSU. Quarterfinals at the campus sites at NDSU. Can you tell me I'm Homer here somewhere?
Yes, he's talking about the Bison.
Semifinals,
a lot of Bison.
NDSU or SDSU, and then at Fargo South, January 6th.
Frisco. The Stag Bowl.
That's what I said, Fargo South.
The Stag Bowl, yes. So this is good. Now, this is one of the most, and I think this is one of the most exciting brackets in football because of the playoffs. Because the college football has the bowl games. They've gone, to get to the Final Four and done that playoff. But this is a true playoff scenario, and it's fun. Single elimination.
And if they're going to the 12-team format in the big leagues anyway, they're kind of basically doing this anyway. They're just calling them bowl games instead of round 1, round 2.
Yep.
And
you get extra games at home on your campus.
They're not neutral site. They're home games for best record. Yep.
I love it.
Breaking news, the Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League announced that the Golden Rams will join the women's conference 24-25 season.
Okay.
More breaking news. Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League announced the Tar Heels of North Carolina will join the women's conference in 24-25. So I looked up that Atlantic Coast Collegiate Hockey League, men's and women's. Lots of teams out there. Hockey really blown up on the East Coast. So watch for them. More numbers from those folks as we cover college hockey this season.
Very interesting. A lot of growth there.
Yes. Record attendance over 20,000 for the indoor swim meet in Indianapolis. Remember we talked about that last week. They put 2 pools in there. 20,689 watched. So that's incredible. Just didn't know how many would show up. If you build it, they will come. I just kind of want to know here at US Bank if that's, if the bar is set, if they want to try something like that, or, in Ford Field up in Detroit, if they want to try to something like that,
You never know.
The bar is set, boys.
Once now it's done. Now you got the precedent set, and it could be done. That's a lot of people watching swimming.
And something like this now, do they open it up for practice and trials after this? Because you put all this into it, you can't tell me you're dumping this water in on a Thursday and pouring it out Monday. It's got to be up. It'd have to be, I would think.
Have a kids event there or something. I don't know what you're
something. I don't know.
Open swim, just to say you've done it. That there's got to be something tagging along on that.
No, Dan, that's not heaven. That's Iowa. NASCAR was in Iowa this weekend.
Okay.
Iowa Corn 350. There he is. Ryan Blaney was your winner. Very exciting race at the end. Iowa Corn 350, of course, powered by ethanol. Yeah, they still use Sunoco fuel, but they really kind of pushed the whole corn fuel thing there. Great weather, good crowd, good turnout, great race. Kyle Larson crashed. It was a win-win all around.
Great stuff.
10 years ago yesterday, we lost Tony Gwynn.
Now,
10 years.
is there going to be an 80s stat of the week? Speaking of Tony Gwynn,
Well, look at that. And there was no production meeting, folks. He just called it.
Tony Gwynn is usually in somehow of Andy's Sports and Songs stat of the week. Maybe Ricky Henderson, Tim Raines. It's usually in that vein. Gary Carter. And
here's one that I didn't use, but here's one Tony Gwynn stat. He played college basketball at San Diego State University. Point guard. He's almost drafted. He had more assists in college than strikeouts in professional baseball.
Okay.
His 4-year career in college, he dished more assists than he struck out in his entire Major League Baseball career.
Great stat.
That's not the stat of the week.
I don't know who comes up with all this, but that's a great stat.
Batting average is 2 strikes since 1988 when they started tracking him. Tony Gwynn, 302. Everybody else in the major leagues, 183.
Do you know what Joe Mauer's is, I wonder?
He's probably closer to the 183 than 302, I'm guessing.
Yeah, okay. Very good stat, very meaningful. What do you do? How do you protect the plate, and what's your average?
Now, that doesn't mean he just made contact to the instructor. He got a hit. His batting average was 302 with 2 strikes on him.
This is not putting a bat on ball.
He struck out so many times where he made contact. He still hit 302.
Not putting the ball in play. He's reaching base and getting a hit with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That is truly unreal. All right, soapbox.
Here we go. I need to clarify some things I've said. That's kind of my soapbox because for some reason I was misunderstood.
Okay.
Brittany Griner. Yes. When she was arrested in Russia, she did wrong. I was not for this whole let's free arms criminals to get her here. No. She did a crime to do the time. She's now saying how she's grateful to be on the Olympic team. And, hearing the national anthem, she's all pro-America again now and everything else. I kind of call BS on that too, but here's where my soapbox is. I want to clear the air. As a basketball player, Brittany Griner is one of the 3 best right now in the game. My opinion. Do I approve of her lifestyle and her cannabis use and her this and that? No. Doesn't mean I can't still like you as a basketball player. That's the soapbox part.
Yep.
Just because I don't like you personally, I don't like what you stand for, I don't like your causes, doesn't mean I don't think you're a good athlete. I think Colin Kaepernick's a doorknob. Was he a good quarterback? Yeah. His couple, 3 years where he's doing stuff, he was phenomenal to watch. Didn't want to hear a word he had to say afterwards. Didn't care what his causes were. Get on the field and shut up and play. I kind of feel the same way about Brittany Griner. Just stay in the court, and I don't want to see anything else after that or before that or, there's all these things coming out about her now. Just I want to watch her on the court, and that's it. I don't want to send drug dealers loose back to other countries to get her out of jail. No, you did a crime. Go to jail. Do your time.
So it's separating the 2 things. The
athlete on the court is one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah.
She steps off the court.
Versus the person themselves, okay?
I could care less what she does off the court.
Yeah. I think
more
people need to get that.
Things about their personal life, their sports life. Listen to how we separate them, though.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, Angel Reese. I'll watch her play all day. Don't want to hear an interview with her. Don't care about her social media. I want to watch her play. I think she's had like 6 or 7 double-doubles in a row for Angel Reese. Great player. Yeah. There is word of Brittany being out on Team USA and Caitlin Clark in. I don't know how much of this is just clickbait from some guys who got traction on it or what. The only thing I could think of was if there's any legitimacy to this, would go back to her arrest. Can she go overseas into Paris? They do test for cannabis in the Olympics in Paris. She's very pro-cannabis. Will that show up on
I see.
So is there truth to this or not? I don't know. Is there a possibility it could come true? I don't know. So that's what I think of that.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Here's FanDuel's top, 3, 6, 7, top 7 for Rookie of the Year. I don't agree with this. Sorry, FanDuel. I think you're wrong. I got Cameron Brink at 1. They got her at 3. I got Angel Reese at 2, Caitlin Clark at 3. Angels, like I said, put up, 6, 7 double-doubles in a row, put up great numbers. Yes, Caitlin's hitting marks that no one's ever hit in their career. Great. Angel Reese is doing the same thing. She's kind of hitting other marks. Cameron Brink's hitting other marks. Rookie of the Year is kind of like MVP to me. You could, in baseball, Steve Carlton got the Cy Young on this. He won half of the team's games that year, damn near. I mean, just because you're the MVP doesn't mean your team had the best record. You're the most valuable person on the team. This team would fold without you. That's the MVP. I always find it weird how the MVPs was on one of the championship teams. They were that. Don't tell me he single-handedly won them the championship. Rookie of the Year. I think those top 3, though, you're going to see them kind of be interchangeable throughout the year. Between 1 through 3, we'll see.
But, fair enough. I think I agree. That's those 3.
Kate Martin down
Kate
there
Martin's having a good year, but you can't put her in that same conversation.
She just started being a starter, so
yeah.
Now this came out. I got a little disagreement here. No one would know of Angel Reese or McNutt or Carrington or Carter if they didn't openly spew their hatred toward Caitlin Clark. Okay, people would know of Angel Reese. She's putting up the numbers. Kennedy Carter's putting up some numbers. It's just Caitlin's taking a shine and spotlight. If you're Johnny Casual who just sits there and watches your 6 o'clock news at night locally, yeah, you're only going to hear of Caitlin Clark. If you follow this show or anybody who knows a little bit about sports, you're going to hear of the other gals too. So this type of quote from Basketball Within Borders, you're way wrong. And those who follow know. Those who just watch the 6 o'clock news or read just the Star Tribune will not know. Serena Williams had a good quote here about Caitlin. And this can be said about any great athlete. And I thought this was really cool. If people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do. I thought that was really spot on when she said that.
I like it.
I like that. Now for some AI.
Okay.
Andy's intelligence. Just stuff to me is like, why do you people not think of this? This is common sense. People are saying that Game 4 between Dallas and Boston was fixed. It was rigged. People. Really? Here in Minnesota, when we came back and won Game 4 against Dallas, we got a chance. Really? You never think the other team just fell behind a little bit and said, we're up 3-0, let's just rest and stay healthy. Whatever. Dallas won that game by like 30 or 40 points. They're not coming back. They're resting, they're relaxing. And especially, the fans are upset because the game was rigged and fixed. If you followed our page lately and other stuff, there's enough guys on basketball getting nailed for gambling right now. You really think they're going to rig a championship series game? So, and I kind of said it tongue in cheek on social media. The games weren't fixed or rigged. It's called an understanding. Get more games, make more money. Did Boston wants to win at home? Hey, maybe they could get a bonus if they score so many points. So do I make it last another game? Who knows? Some Mets news. Not all good news either for the land of blue and orange.
Okay.
Just got to check one thing here real quick before I get into that.
Yeah, the other thing I saw. Go ahead.
9-2, top of the 4th, by the way,
okay.
For the Mets. They are 5-0 this year since Grimace threw out the opening pitch.
Okay.
They're about to be 6-0 now.
I wasn't sure about that, and I've been seeing some memes. So that makes sense.
Grimace. He's our man. Okay. I posted this last week where I said I hate when they put these stats up. They're only 3 games out of the playoffs, but look at all those teams they got to jump. Look at that. Since this one up, they were 5-1, and guess what? They only gained a game and a half. They still got a bunch of teams to jump over. So you go 5-1 and you gained a game and a half, and they're all still right there. Granted, this week they got the Texas Rangers, which are playing right now. And look at Texas's record; they're 33-38, just like the Mets. Mets are 33-37. Sorry, half game difference, but so equally matched according to records right now. So that should be good. Then they got the Cubbies, who, as you saw the stat before here, they're tied with in the wild card going into this week.
Okay.
But the Cubbies are at the same types of choice at 34-38. So these next 6 games, they're equally matched. So we'll see how it goes. If they get within maybe a game instead of a game and a half of that last wild card spot. Brett Beatty is trending right now for the Mets. Third baseman phenom that I was very excited to go see it, and they sent him to London for the weekend. Why is Brett Beatty trending, you may ask? They're asking him to play a lot of second base in the minors because Jeff McNeil's name was on the trading block. I got 3 names right here for you, and I'll get to more later. J.D. Martinez, Jeff McNeil, and Pete Alonso. June 17th on this episode, at about the 21:30 mark, 21:35 mark, 2 of those 3 players will not be with the team at the end of the year.
2 of the 3, okay? Okay.
Between Martinez, McNeil, and Alonso. Alonso's name has come up in trades with Seattle. I read one today. Pete Alonso possibly coming to the Minnesota Twins.
Saw it.
For some minor league prospects. So you put Pete Alonso at first base there. I've seen 3 Mets games at Target Field in the last 3 years. 3 years, because they were here a couple years ago then this year. Or last year, I mean. He's got 3 homers at Target Field in 6 games. He's doing all right there. He's doing okay. I think he would be fine here. Between Correa at short and Buxton in center, Alonso's a big name. Don't get me wrong, but those 2 would take enough limelight away. He wouldn't be the man, Not that I think Buxton's going to be considered the man, but the local media loves him. So, and also Royce Lewis at third. Yeah, bring Alonso in at first for the Twins. They could give Cleveland a run. I said it. There it is. Marv Thornberry on this date for the Mets back in their first season. Thornberry drives in 2 runs and an apparent triple, but was later called out for missing first base. When manager Casey Stengel came out to argue the call, the home plate umpire said, don't bother. He missed second base too. So that was just the type of year the 62 Mets had. And also on this date, back in 2008, at approximately 3 a.m., hours after a win over the Angels, the Mets fire Willie Randolph. Under Randolph, the Mets were 302 and 253 record and came within 1 win of reaching the World Series. Despite this, he's never had another opportunity to coach in the majors. That just kind of blows me away. What did he say or do? No one, he was gone and he's never managed again. And that just kind of, if the record was been reversed, I get it. You were 50 games below 500. 500 games, you're 302 and 253. Why was he not ever offered a job again?
So he was blacklisted for something. He's no longer can get a job as a manager.
This was 16 years ago, so it's like he's going to fall on one right now anymore.
So weird, yes.
So who knows? Homework assignment. Now, this is not for the common listeners.
Okay.
This is for those in Major League Baseball who are listening. You know who you are. I'm not going to call out names and embarrass you.
Okay.
My boy, Danny Vogelbach.
Yes.
Is 30 games away from breaking the all-time record for most games played without a stolen base attempt. He only needs 30 games. The Blue Jays released him. He's out there. Someone needs to sign him. How many times do you see a player who's 5 hits away from 4,000 or some dumbass number like that? They'll sign him just to get the record.
Yep.
Sign Danny.
Would they do it for this, though? For this particular record?
Left-handed hitter.
Obscure here. Yeah, they could sign him for other reasons, but for this record.
I just okay. You're the White Sox. You're the A's. You're the Tigers. What do you got to lose? It's a fresh blood, could shake up. The Tigers had their phenom first baseman up, and they sent him, Torkelson sent him packing back to the minors. So why not bring Danny in?
There's got to be a team that could use him. Yes, that's a fair statement.
Left-handed, sort of power hitter for your playoff run. The Twins, they could reunite him and Pete Alonso for the playoff push.
Yes.
Just saying, someone sign him. Make this happen. If this was the minor leagues, Vec would have been all over this guy. Jesus. They got forever put this up. In 2000, teams were hitting 24 teams were hitting at least 260. Today, there's no teams hitting 260.
Wow.
So 24 of the teams were hitting at least 260 back in 2000. Now, granted, they're all juiced and on roids, according to some people, but you still got to make contact with the ball. Now there's the great Dodger lineups, the great Yankee lineups. No one's batting 260. And that is all I got, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. You look at the box score, most teams, the guys are hitting, 220 to 240. A couple guys in there batting 256 maybe that are good, and then a handful of higher ones. But it's very common to see those. It's unreal.
Yeah, if you're batting 270, you're a stud. I mean, that's what I've kind of said about Alonso. And I love Pete Alonso. Great guy, good player, nice guy. But I'm not going to give him a lot of money for 50 home runs and a 220 batting average, 230 batting average. I'd rather you bat 270, 280 and hit 25 home runs. That's just me.
So Andy's
Moneyball.
So we've got some UFL to talk about, Andy.
Yes, they had the big championship game.
Birmingham Stallions, 25-0 won that UFL. This is the first inaugural year of the UFL combined.
Yeah.
But when they're broken up in the other leagues, Birmingham also won the last 2 championships in their league. I think they were in the USFL.
Yep.
So very good deal. This Thursday also.
Now, some people are saying that's a three-peat. Does that count as a three-peat to you?
Well, they were the champions of the spring league last 3 years. Regardless of what league it was, the league they were in, no one beat them. No one finished higher than them. They have a very good win and loss record. This year, they only lost 1 game.
And so, now, if I understand the spring leagues correctly for football, the team they had 3 years ago when Birmingham won it the first time, when they started the second season, it wasn't like a regular team where those same guys came back. It was blown up and you had nobody on your roster, right?
I don't know.
Those guys come back.
I don't know if that was the case or not because they were the same. Yeah, I can't confirm that. Now this year it's different because the teams the majority are the same, but then now you get to do that expansion draft and pick up a bunch of different guys. So you're right in the fact that it's not the same, players on the team. There's maybe a core group or some, but from a coaching perspective, they've been tough. They've been good. So hats off.
Exciting.
This week on Thursday, Major League Baseball is playing a game at Rickwood Field down in Birmingham. Also, they've had this, I think it comes back to this Field of Dreams in Dyersville, Iowa.
Yep.
They started playing some games there. They built a whole other arena, that stadium.
Game too.
They're playing, they're doing all this stuff there, and it's taking off. And so they, I think, sense that there's some, interest in some of these other ballparks. So I think that's why they're doing this. This could be a regular annual event, I think, too. I don't know if it's just a one-time deal, and I think it only holds 8,000 fans or something. I don't know, but interesting. That'll be Thursday on Fox. And let's see, Minnesota Twins. I saw some rumblings also about some trades.
Yep.
And Alonso, and I don't know if it's because it was a slow day because there was no Twins game today, so the local writers had to put a lot of things together. I made a couple comments on Twitter. The Twins are just they're getting such good production out of first baseman Carlos Santana right now with home runs, average, getting on base. They've got a logjam at first base. They're not going to be going after a guy like Pete Alonso. And
are they if the deal was right?
See, I don't know. I think
then you trade Santana for somebody else.
Yeah, you could. I made it perfectly clear on the Twitter account today that there's no way that's happening at all. They're set where they're at right now. They even have a logjam at first with a bunch of guys that can play that with Jose Miranda not having a home now. So him and Santana are doing good at first, and so you wouldn't want to bring in that extra mix up that chemistry for something that's going good already.
And Miranda's the guy I feel bad for because he could play third also.
He's primarily a third baseman, and he's probably one of the best hitting players in the Twins right now. And Royce Lewis is up playing in his spot, so now they got to push him to DH or first base. Santana, who wasn't doing good, now is doing well, and the team is they're just gelling right now. They're only a game and a half out of second place now. Them with the Royals they should overtake second place here sometime in the next 10 days, I believe, is my guess. So I don't think the Panda's coming, but we all could be wrong. The reason I saw the only reason I say that is because when the Twins have an off day like this, when not much is going on, and every single Monday there's no minor league baseball either. And then I sense some of these things get stirred up to try to get add clicks to things and get people to talk and discuss it. Perfectly good to talk about it, but
think about it though. Pete Alonso comes here. Pete Alonso, the polar bear. You got the white bear Mitsubishi bear. You got TC bear.
It's a great day
to be a bear in Minnesota.
It could be some very
media marketing. Oh my God, the polar bear and the bear from white bear Mitsubishi. The money he can make on ads right there is endless. They can't print it fast enough.
From a promotional perspective, it's jackpot.
It's money.
All right, so a lot of games in amateur town ball. Baseball were pushed back, postponed. They're trying to get these games in because of all the rain. The problem is there's more rain coming this week with today and the rest of the week as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they get all these in there. The priority is the Minnesota high school tournament. They're going to push that on Friday, but that could even be tricky. Who knows? But by next week at this time, we should have some solid answers on some of these things.
Well, and here's my thought too: is I know being here in Watertown, I hear the local team more. I think they've had 3 or 4 rainouts already this year themselves. Now, are they going to allow these teams because days to make up? I'm going to say it, and I don't mean any rip by you. I love town ball, but it's just town ball. These guys have 9 to 5 jobs during the week. They can't play 4 days in a row or something, So does Minnesota baseball come with to make up these games? Did they cut them to 7 innings so they can get 3 games in 4 days to make them up? Do we find neutral sites? Watertown's got to play team A and B. Would we have a doubleheader and have both teams come in? Who knows? I don't know how they're going to make these up.
That's a good point. What we're seeing is with all these rainouts and not even just the rain, the field conditions are not even playable because there's so much rain. There's nowhere to go. Howard Lake Orphans in the North Star League. Their outfield is the lake, is Howard Lake. They can't play currently on their field and in the potential future because the field, if it's dry or not, doesn't make a difference. The outfield is it's underwater. So they got a lot of things. So I think the priority is the conference games or the divisional conference matchups or the league games, they've got to get those in. If it's a non-conference or an exhibition or playing someone on a friendly game, those are the first to, I think, get scrapped. But Andy, you're right. They may move them to 7 inning games. They may put in some double headers to get these games in. a lot of these rosters are deep enough, I think. This is just my opinion, that the rosters are deep enough that, yes, these guys have jobs, they've got wife and kids, they've got families, they got things to do. They're not going to make all the games. So they'll use a lot of these games and get some bench players in to get those games in. But then again, you're still looking out for your conference win-loss record. And so town ball is an interesting thing. It's very serious, but at the same time, in the big scope of things,
they're not getting paid.
More important. There's a lot more important things than that. But even the stats, the batting average title is going to be awarded to someone. The Cy Young Pitcher of the Year for the conference is going to be awarded to someone. So those players are wanting to try to get their innings and their at-bats as well to qualify for these things. So there's a lot of things going on.
They're not getting paid, wink, wink, but, there's pride, and pride is worth more than money for
It's huge.
That's what I'm saying. They're not getting paid.
They're not going to miss many games. The regulars are not going to miss many games. They would rather skip work than miss a baseball game.
Someone probably would.
Other folks, it's different. So we'll see how it shakes out. I think we get another week or so under our belt, it'll be ready to go. Some of these all-star games are coming up now. As far as some of these conferences, and so they've announced some of the all-star rosters. Those are fun. And once again, if there's any chance of bad field, that'll be another thing that's scrapped. That's kind of just a for fun activity. The over 35 baseball in the Federal League had a full Hall of Fame induction day set up in Chaska at Chaska's historic athletic field, along with an all-star game for the over 35 league. Scrapped altogether, postponed. They're going to push that to the end of July because they couldn't get the Hall of Fame induction speeches in. They couldn't get the game in. It rained all day. So now you're finding, when are you going to put that together? Now, the end of July for these guys is a lot of tournaments and the state tournament, getting ready for the state tournament. So it's going to be tough to get all these weekends. Now, in the middle of all that, Andy, you and I both know that there's weddings and grad parties going on.
Right. Yeah. There's other things.
It's a battle. It's a battle. But once it gets nice, I think they're going to get all these games in. But it's going to be an odd summer, I believe. That's all I've got for sports. Is there anything else that we missed? NASCAR we've covered.
We covered. Tonight and tomorrow, NBA and NHL finals will go on. We'll get the Stanley Cup.
Yes, we'll have the NBA finals and the Stanley Cup finals covered on next week. And I think even with the Division I College World Series, we'll know next week. All these things should be done. Spring football now is done. We're not going to cover any arena unless something big happens. We're not going to cover that. But it's nice to have just a one league, UFL, rather than the XFL for 10 weeks and the USFL for 10 weeks, and it all overlaps. Now we get the 10-week schedule, the 2-3 rounds of playoffs, and it's done.
Canadian football starting up if you need your football.
Yes. Now I'm seeing more of that on our Facebook and Twitter account. That might be you following those things, but there's some interesting stories out there as well.
You follow ESPN2 or so, you find them on YouTube. Canadian football is kind of fun to watch. I watch the odd stuff. I watch that. I watch Korean baseball and Japanese baseball. There's a lot of it on YouTube too. Also, YouTube you can watch if you need your football fix. Canadian football is kind of fun to watch. It's something different.
A lot of things are coming out for college sports as far as the football season coming up. The recruits and the signing, how good the signing class. I'm seeing articles about that. And uniform, TCU unveiled their new uniforms for football just today. So if you need your fix, there's still things that'll help limp you along to the season.
Oh, and one thing you mentioned last week, the Twins City Connect uniform.
Yes.
The Dodgers released theirs today.
Okay. So this was
looks like to me just a regular uniform. It didn't look anything fancy to me.
So the Dodgers are different because they already have a City Connect, and this was their second version.
Yeah.
And it sounds like when the first one was released, the team had some leeway to make some tweaks to it. So there's a couple versions of their first one, and now they get a second one. So it's odd, it's strange, but yes, it does sell jerseys, and people do go
Dodgers. Now you can get an Ohtani one. Yes, like we said, it's just more money. Like I said last week on the soapbox, don't waste your money on a shirt no one's going to wear. Take the money and take them to the game and get the memories.
Yes. Especially for the cost. Some of these the jerseys are unbelievable. Now, the Twins did wear theirs for 2 games. They've got 9 more on the schedule to go. You know, Andy, we're coming up to the halfway point in the regular season, so we'll touch on that as well. And next week we'll cover the All-Star voting for the Major League.
Did you hear about? Was it Houston? Was there a rebate? One of their players that was batting like 180. I think they've released him already. They've had a big push to try to get him in the All-Star game just to make a mockery of the voting on it. There's a social media push like, hey, this guy's batting 180. He sucks. Let's put him in the All-Star game. Everybody vote for him. And you know what? If that, it's going to come to that pretty soon where people's going to like, let's vote for these cruddy players and just,
that needs to be addressed as far as how that whole system works and how they get in there. And I know that's a portion of it, and the managers can select some, and then the teams or something. It's all weighted in a certain way, but you end up getting a guy that's in prison serving time that qualifies someone who's not on the team anymore.
You know how many times it's been just a popularity contest, especially in the 80s and 90s. Mike Schmidt, the year he retired like 3 weeks into the season.
Yep.
They still voted him into the All-Star game. Thing I respect, it's hard for me to say it. The one thing I respect about Mike Schmidt, he didn't play in the game. He came out, tipped his cap as a starter, but he did not play. He very well could have suited up for one more game and stroked his ego.
Yeah.
No, he retired because he said he didn't have it anymore. Yet the fans said, "Oh, let's vote Mike Schmidt in." And these are all idiots.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's laughable to some extent, but we'll have that coming up then as well as. But the halfway point is in 10 days, I believe, or 10 games. Yeah. We'll start seeing who's going to be close to the ever popular, 20 wins pitchers, 50 home run hitters, all those kinds of things we'll see coming up here with the stats. But that's it. That's all I've got. Have a good week, everyone. We'll be back next Monday.